Now, I will dictate a little bit about my own spouse, Jyoti Rao, and her episode of how she got breast cancer and how is he going out, and my role in her uh, treat, treatment so far, and the progress about her situation as we speak today, and what can help this episode to the other people suffering from various cancers, including breast cancer. So, said and done, Jyoti Rao is her maiden name. She never added anything, attachment like Gadad or Bhaskar to her name. That was her preference. And she is a doctor and she practiced family practice in Tidewater area for nearly 20 years or so, but not continuously, off and on, because she has her own lifestyle and she likes to travel and things like that. But for about 6 years, she was fortunate enough to get a nice Navy contract as an independent provider to serve people with uh, insurance called Champus and secondary insurance. And these were the lot of Navy dependents and Navy veterans who could get care in a place called Boone Clinic, Boone, Boone Clinic in Virginia Beach, naval base. So that contract boosted her practice and she raked in money, literally raked in money in 5 years. And in 1 year time, she blew all of them. So that Jyoti was a and is a beautiful, considered to be the beauty queen of the Tidewater area, and she was very popular there with her social circuit. And in Boone Clinic, all her patients loved her too because of her disposition and slickness and ability to navigate through as if she is the winner and she is the doer of anything. Everything. For everything is done, she gets the credit. That is her skill. And she did not really recommend anything routine. No routine mammograms, no routine rectal exam, no nothing. But anytime a patient asks, is a mammogram due? Oh, sure, and she will prescribe. No problem. Whether she preached her patients about doing breast self-examination, I do not know. Whatever it is, she was a very popular lady in Tidewater area at that time. Even today, she has a big family circuit, a female friend circle all over the country and all over the world, and particularly so in Tidewater area. And she carries on with that very nicely. So that Jyoti Rao, who is my spouse, I'm married to her for 55 years or something like that. Herself found to have stage 4 breast cancer in early December 2000, 2012, I think. It's not 2012, 2021 December. around third week of December. That is the time biopsy was done on her right breast by needle biopsy, and it showed cancer of the breast. That's how it was detected. But at that point in time, I was not in talking terms with her, but we were physically living in the same place, same house, apartment, or whatever you call it in Virginia Beach. So prior to that, in November of that month, that year, she was in a ashram. Ashram means some kind of a religious crap, which is all over the country and all over the world. And this particular one was in Pennsylvania. She was fiddling around there, listening to the so-called realized masters there. So all along, she also was fondling with her breast, and she did find through grapevine. I found out that she did find a palpable mass. That's a very big sized hard lump on the right breast. But of course, since I don't communicate with her or she doesn't call me anything specific, I was not notified. Even if I was notified, I wouldn't have done anything anyway because I'm not her doctor. But I remember she talking to her daughter called Nisha, that's my daughter, about this breast lump. And she said, I have some kind of a lump there, something like that. And she will self-examine, and one day she thinks the lump is big, and the next day she thinks the lump is small. Tumors don't get big and small. If that happens, it's probably benign something or a cyst. So she was imagining all kinds of stuff, but she didn't do anything. Then finally in December, early December or mid-December, he comes to Tidewater area to our apartment. We have a place in Virginia Beach. There also she's playing with her breast, and I didn't even know about that. And I do my own stuff there with my gardening. And one fine day, she goes to see a nurse practitioner. She didn't even see a doctor. But nurse practitioners are as good or even better than doctors in doing a good, thorough examination. Nowadays, the delivery of healthcare system has changed so much. You seldom see a doctor, and a doctor spends barely 5 seconds and gives all the opinion. Before that, if the person is screened by so many people, starting with the insurance company screening, whether how deep the person's pocket is, and then and then several medical assistants in the doctor's office, things like that. So she goes to a nurse practitioner there, where she contributed a lot for that practice when she was facing down. And the nurse practitioner examines her, and she was apparently petrified, horrified to see such a big lump on my wife's right breast. So with that in mind, she comes home and opens the door and sticks her right breast. I was sitting in the couch watching the TV, and she sticks her right breast. Say, Bhaskar, the nurse practitioner is horrified because she found a big lump in my right breast and she thinks it's a cancer. And she used the word purdy orange, purdy orange, purdy orange 3 times, and she was horrified. Look at my breast, check it out. That was my spouse's order to me. And I told her, get the hell out of this place. That was immediate response. And she went to her room. Then nothing happened that day. Then she has a friend there. She is a breast surgeon. So she calls that breast surgeon's office. And because my wife is a family physician and she has a big referral base, she used to refer patients to all the people. They used to comply with her request, and even though it's holiday time, that particular breast surgeon made a special concession and worked my wife, into her schedule and checked it, and then recommended a biopsy, which was appropriate. And they did a nice core biopsy of the right breast mass, and it was sent to the lab to General Hospital of Virginia Beach, where I was a staff member one time, and I knew the pathologists also. Three of them were there. Now, one guy died, other fellow retired, but the third senior pathologist is still there, and he happened to analyze the tissue. And as mentioned before, I had a habit of looking into all my patients' pathology reports myself, review them with the patients, review them with the pathologist, and have a cup of tea, etc., to get a good mental picture of what I'm dealing with, so that I can explain to the patient the findings in a most basic way, and then take it from there. And since this is my own wife, and the pathology report came, I went to Beach General Hospital and talked to this pathologist who I have known him for 25 years, but I never socialized with him or talked with him. And he was from South America somewhere, and a good doctor, good pathologist, never made any mistakes, very humble. And he told Dr. Rao, I have bad news for you. And I simply smiled. I didn't say anything. I simply smiled. Then we went through the tissue, and obviously it was cancer. But then there are so many advances in the cancer field as of 2021. So that tissue has to be analyzed for all kinds of testing. They are all pending. And also we need to do what's called staging. That means at the time of diagnosis, how far the cancer is spread, whether it's localized or is generalized, things like that. And soon thereafter, she also underwent a bilateral mammogram. And that mammogram showed a huge mass, and like a 4 by 4 centimeter mass or something on the right side, and right axillary nodes are all enlarged, and there is a small mass in the left breast as well, and maybe left axilla there were some lymph nodes, I don't recall. Since everybody is a doctor in my family, and since everything is available through electronic means, that those images were sent to my daughter, who was in Tampa area practicing there as a big shot in a so-called tower radiology. She was a senior partner with a vested interest in that group. But anybody can, with the authorization, the images can be sent electronically. And she also reviewed it. And my son, who happens to be a radiation oncologist, he was sitting somewhere in California. And I think he also got the report. But everybody knew that it's a breast cancer, and at least regionally advanced to the right axilla, which is so with that alone, one can conclude that is stage 4A. That means it is already in the axillary nodes and fixed. So stage 4 is called advanced situation. But there is thing called stage 4B or whatever. That is beyond the confines of the breast and the axilla. It could have gone to lung, liver, bone, as well as brain. That is advanced stage 4. So with that in mind, she was acting like a chicken with head cut off, my wife, because now she is confronting with a serious condition which can potentially be terminal or fatal. Nobody knows. like any other human being, she had that fear of the unknown. And I again and again and again and again and again and again I emphasize 99% of the times fear is an illusion. Fear is an illusion. Danger is real. Fear is an illusion. Danger is real. That's what that is the piece of wisdom I got last year sitting in the beach resort looking at a magic show who was doing magic and acrobatics, and his theme was fear is an illusion, danger is real. So why I'm saying that to the pertaining to my own wife's cancer is as soon as somebody thinks that they have a cancer, even the thought is a fear. Just the thought, they think, oh, I may have a cancer. They worry, 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 worry. Worry doesn't get you anything, anywhere. Actually, make the things worse. Because now it is well understood scientifically. Positive attitude, everything will stimulate the positive things in your immune system. That itself will help to uh, contain the tumor or even regress the tumor without any treatment. This is well established fact in medical science. And when I started my practice, a doctor praying for a patient during surgery or after the outcome for treatment was considered to be a no-no thing. Doctor is not supposed to do all those things. It has to be very highly professional, not to mention the name of God. God or so-called the unknown factor. And that was the style of practice when I started practice in Virginia Beach area 45 years ago. And there is a popular group of OBGYN doctors. One Dr. Canton and another one is Dr. Dom, and they belong to a place called Rock Church. Rock Church, which was started by one brother Jimenez or Jimenez, and he believed in prayers and everything. And these doctors belong to that group, and that Dr. Canton's group actually delivered Jyoti when she was pregnant with Nisha, my first daughter, and we all held hands together and prayed to Jesus for a better outcome of the pregnancy and a healthy baby. And those things were considered to be a no-no thing by rest of Dr. Canton's colleagues and other doctors in Tidewater area at that time. With that in mind, she was jumping like a yo-yo with her breast mass and going here and there. And my son, who is Nicky, my son, who is a radiation oncologist, and he is an extremely bright guy, and he knew a lot, not just the radiation part, but the rest of the treatment part also about investigation and the staging, etc. He was having an active practice in California. He became extremely upset, and he's attached to my wife so much. And he was more affected by one of us. My daughter, she had a neutral expression. She did not get any kind of a hyperactivity, and she was in her own world and her own kind of assessment about her mother. And I was not even her physician, and I never touched my wife for 35 years. And that's why I think she got the cancer. It's a different issue. But whatever it is, um, my son tried his best to get an appointment right away as soon as possible in a medical center in Tampa called Moffett, Moffett Medical Center, which is a freestanding oncological center, uh, where my son himself worked for about 3 years. And he knew a lot of doctors there, but at that point in time, he did not know too many people. And Moffat generally does not accept a new patient without the tissue confirmation and blah 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 blah, all the protocols. But with great effort, my son Nikki made a appointment in Moffat through one of the breast surgeons, actually breast surgeon who is a white guy, and he bent over backwards to get an appointment in Moffat for my wife Jyoti. And why I'm saying is that is a holiday time. There is no thing as emergency. Everything holiday, whole equation changes. It can wait, it can wait. Let the holidays pass, then let's do it. But in certain types of cancer or any other treatment, time is of the essence. If you lose that little window of opportunity, you lose the whole outcome. And of this thing, patient may die or may suffer for the rest of their life. That type of situation, when we do not know how far it has gone, without knowing how far the tumor is gone, and without knowing what the tumor subtypes, as illustrated by my biographer in a book she's working on breast cancer, it elaborates extensively about the subtypes of breast cancer, and the initial treatment is all depending upon the type of the tumor, site of the tumor, spread of the spread elsewhere, and depending on different organs, and including the brain. All those things are fine tuning about treatment decision making, and all those things cannot be done until the staging is over. And my wife is running around like a monkey, and getting a little bit there, little bit there, here and there, until my son said, come back to Tampa and I have an appointment. And he was flying from California just to see her, his mother, and get her going with the initial setup at Moffat. With that in mind, I I was continuously talking with my son about how to deal with this situation of my own spouse and mother of my two two kids. They're wonderful. So I told my wife, stop monkeying around in Tidewater. Do not see any doctors. She had an appointment with a breast surgeon there. Breast surgeon, another appointment. She was a poor lady, had an appointment to go on a vacation or something, but she has to accommodate my wife and do more things. But then she went to see one guy called Hiregauda, this young boy who is like a little baby. I carried him and a small baby. He is a medical oncologist there, and my wife calls him and say, "I want to see you," things like that. And he said, "Auntie, I will see you anytime." I remember that. But then she did not see that young boy. And he is a medical oncologist, well reputable medical oncologist right now. So, so anyway, I told her we have to go to Tampa right away and get started, and at least she agreed to that. And the airline reservation was impossible. We needed a car there. Although for logistics, I said I will drive you tomorrow. That is now December 21 or something like that, 2021. Tomorrow morning, if you are ready by 6 a.m., I will drive you. If you are not ready by 6 a.m., you are on your own. Condition number one. Condition number two, The entire trip, you have to keep quiet. You should not talk to me. Number three, you can play music, but of your choice, but use your headphone only, not on the main radio. And she never said yes or no. But next morning, 6 a.m., when I got up, she was up and ready. And I loaded her car. She had a Mercedes Benz, and she has a license and she can use the car for driving. So I decided to bring that car, drive that car, and come back to Tampa, which was 850 miles drive. So we started that journey that morning around 7 a.m. and I drove non-stop, except two stop, one for PP break and one for refueling the car, and went all the way to Tampa and reached that area around 8 p.m. About 14-hour drive, I think, I remember. And when I'm firm with her, she does what I want. Otherwise, she does whatever she wants. That has been my pattern. And whenever I'm firm with her and I make her do, I feel bad because of me, I'm twisting her arm. So I never wanted to do that. And I'm no longer doing it. That's why I'm peaceful for myself. With that in mind, after 14 hours, we reached our own place, and next day or 2 days later, there was an appointment at Moffat. So there were many appointments at that time. Very first appointment was with a breast surgeon. As I said, he was a white guy, and they do allow the significant other or spouse to get into the consultation room with the patient. So I happened to be there. I drove her to Moffat in that same Mercedes car, and there was a valet parking and all. They do all kinds of gimmicks there. Valet parking, welcome this one, tea or something. I was not interested in anything. I just wanted to see what the interaction is going to be. I knew exactly what to do, what is needed, because I'm not a dummy. Even after 20 years, I mean 10, 15 years of not up to breast cancer, I have been keeping up myself whenever appropriate with all kinds of cancer treatments. Um, because I used to give a lot of OTC, over-the-counter consultations, both in America as well as in other parts of the world, with very many patients with internal medicine problem as well as cancer problems. With that in mind, we were also were wearing masks at that time because COVID was still a fashion. To wear a mask was a very fashionable thing at that time. So everybody was wearing a mask, and I used to design my own mask of various kinds with designs. So anyway, I was wearing a mask, and we went to Moffat. There is a waiting room, consultation room. We have to wait in a doctor's consultation room, and the nurse practitioner will take the history and blah blah, and they all build up a beautiful chart with all kinds of examination findings and everything. So by the time the doctor comes in, he has a electronically he or she knows what is all happening because they review it on the background, and they even without touching the patient, they already come to conclusion what to do. So with that type of situation, this doctor, white guy, walks into the room, exam room, and out of respect, I stand up. Anybody walking in, I stand up. This is our custom in India. It's just a respect. So I stood up, and Jyoti also stands up. I was sitting left, right of Jyoti with a mask, and the doctor comes from to her. I was sitting left of Jyoti, and the man comes from to the right of her and looks at her and gives her a real bear hug. He simply hugs her, Hugs her for 1 minute, you won't let her go. Just simply hugs her. And that was the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my life, in a person's compassion as a doctor or whatever healthcare given for another person. He already knew that man that she is a doctor, I am a doctor, Nikki is a doctor, my wife is a, my daughter is a doctor, everybody is a doctor. But that is not the reason he gave the hug, because he had absolutely nothing else to offer for my wife at that point. He is a breast surgeon. What his job is to chop off the breast. But that was not indicated. In this situation, it was not indicated according to the available medical knowledge. And the thing, it does not improve the quality of life, does not improve the survival, and does not improve the recurrent probability, etc., based on the available information. But what my wife wanted from him, chop off both breasts. That's what she says. Because she is afraid, she doesn't know, she doesn't, has not kept up, but refuses to believe that. And with her own fear of all those things, because she has seen patients with breast cancer suffer with local spread of the tumor, breaking into ulcer, giving a lot of smell, things like that. I have seen millions of them. She might have seen one or two. She would have referred them to me or somebody else. So the fear is an illusion. Danger is real. There is a danger part coming up in her case. It's real. That's what I'm going to address in a few minutes. So she says she is also married to an Indian woman, Indian lady. So next reaction, oh, maybe then we should have a party together. That's my wife's reaction. She is going there as a patient. She should maintain doctor-patient relationship and get everything possible from the physician, providing doctor everything possible and confine her oneself only to that topic. None of my patients in my entire practice did it with me, even though I tried my best to focus myself only to the issues of patient's relationship with the, condition, and that's all my focus has been. And this girl, this lady, very first day after the hug, with this gentleman, this doctor, he says, we want to go and have a party with his wife. So that is my spouse's attitude, has been and still going to, still as we speak today, I guess, I do not know. Whatever it is, the doctor did an, after hugging her, they put a little screen or something, he examines her. Again, it's a organ related exam. That means focused exam, just both the breasts, perhaps he touched her tummy to see is there any enlargement of liver and spleen, and that's about it. So then it's over, and he recommends, I have nothing to offer for you, but I'm here for you 24/7. You can call me anytime. You can call me anytime, 24/7, and I will advise you whatever is needed. So that was the very first doctor interaction in the Moffat, in my presence, and I witnessed that, and that interaction was very good. And that is not over. Then still the staging has to be done, and they had to do more testing. They had called total body MRI with scan or something. I took her to MRI center, their diagnostic center. Again, since my daughter is a so-called big shot there, she probably used her influence. There is a guy called Kenny, young man, a black guy called Kenny, and he's a scheduler, and probably he had his influence, and they accommodate that my wife, and they did a MRI guided liver biopsy, because the liver already showed multiple cancer nodules. So from the previous scan, but the medical oncologist supposed to be treating there wanted a specifically liver tissue to analyze the special findings on that, which will greatly influence the course of action, which will be either anti-hormonal therapy or chemotherapy. So for her, it was pivotal to take the liver tissue, even though we had the original breast tissue already sent from Tidewater area for these people to, Moffat people to analyze and do further studies on that. But she wanted specifically the liver. That's why I had to take her to that diagnostic center somewhere where they did a needle guided liver biopsy. And again, I took her physically there in that her car. And at 5 a.m. it was very cold. I simply relaxed in the car. I didn't even go to the waiting area because I was comfortable. I'm comfortable anywhere. I put a little couple of layers of jackets and I sat there and I was doing my own work on the internet in my phone. So that procedure was done and finally we got a liver tissue. Then final, the another interesting thing is um, the they she was complaining of back pain. She has pains all over. All her life she complained of pain here and there and everywhere. And she was complaining of back pain and but this pain was slightly atypical and it was in the neck, slightly below the neck. That was something new. But interestingly, when they did the bone scan and the MRI of the bone or something, a diagnostic test, the cancer was sitting on that bone there, almost compressing that spinal cord there to the verge of, if it is totally compressed, the spinal cord, which could have happened within a week or 10 days' time, as we speak, she will be paralyzed, totally paralyzed below the, from the neck down. The probably she could have used her arms because this was below that level, but that's called paraplegia. Once spinal cord is compressed and damaged with whatever reason, in this case cancer, even if you clear the cancer on that after the paralysis will not improve. That is the key point. If the paralysis does not improve, patient's quality life becomes zero. That patient is mostly bed confined and needing supportive care and he with a wheelchair situation, bladder problem, things like that. She was in the verge of having that thing at that point in time when we diagnosed it. So chemotherapy was not critical, systemic therapy was not critical. That immediate need at that point was to address that one particular area in the neck where the cancer is sitting right on top of the spinal column, to deal with that and eliminate it and shrink it before it spreads further and compresses the cord. For that also, time is of extreme importance. If she had monkeyed around and played around in the Tidewater area, and if my son did not bring my wife to Moffat, and if my son did not do all those things in a timely manner, 99.9% probability my wife Jyoti would have been paralyzed as we speak today, and her life could have been entirely different in a miserable state. And she was an extremely fearful person and she has zero tolerance for pain. Then, interestingly, who treated her spine? Even the medical oncologist, who is a Chinese lady, wonderfully, and she has access to all kinds of investigational medicines as well, happens to be her primary oncologist in Moffat. I don't know her name, but I also went for that interaction. and I saw the interaction of the Chinese lady, Chinese girl, I said, not lady, young girl, very knowledgeable and very pretty. And she is the one who advised, she is the one who recommended liver biopsy before starting treatment, making a treatment decision for the her cancer, which is all over. My wife's cancer, which is all over. It is extensive in the lung, fair amount in the liver, extensive in the bones, but no lesions found in the brain, which is the good news. So, with that in mind, that I was impressed with her professionalism of that Chinese primary medical oncologist, who is now the main person uh, I presume, is the main person supposed to be taking care of my wife Jyoti. Why I am saying that main person is also super busy. They don't have time. There are some nurse practitioners and all those people, they come and see her and report to the main person, and the main person seldom sees the patient. That's all the type of care is happening right now in this country. But coming back to the radiation oncologist who gave treatment, focus, localized treatment to my wife's thoracic spine, which was almost going to compress the spinal cord, producing possibly could have produced paralysis, permanent, irreversible paralysis, or of her legs, which would have made her totally incapable of functioning, having a good quality of life. And because my wife believed in quality of life and she is very, very sensitive to pain, as I mentioned before, that person's name is Ahmad Rahman. He is a Muslim, he is a Pakistani, and he was born in India, but he migrated, his parents migrated to Pakistan. Hindus and Muslims hate each other. That was intrinsic nature, like blacks not liking whites in this country, something like that, or the vice versa. Now the whites are envious of blacks because they are getting an upper hand and whites are suppressed. They feel that they are suppressed. So the current election will be very interesting for me to watch who will come up. Anyway, put that thing aside. In our place, Tidewater area also, there was another Ahmad Rahman who was an excellent surgeon, general and vascular surgeon. His wife's name was Gulshan, and he had two children. They are all my uh, business associates and also backyard party people. We used to have a grand time. But Ahmad Rahman, my buddy, did not like Jyoti at all. He hated Jyoti for a fact that Jyoti never sent any patients to him, I believe, referred any patients. Since Jyoti is a primary care physician, she had an opportunity to send patients to different people. But for some reason, Ahmad felt that uh, Jyoti, she hated Jyoti because she, according to him, she never sent any patient to him, and so that was his gripe from his side. I have a big story to write about Ahmad Rahman, his wife Gulshan, as well as two children, three children. She had three children, two girls and a boy. I will narrate a story about them in a detail. But anyway, uh, but ironically, the fellow who treated and saved Jyoti's quality of life in Tidewater area, I mean in Tampa, his name was also Ahmad Rahman. That's all I'm going to say. And he gave prescribed a very intensive 4-day focused treatment to that thoracic spine, which was in area where the cancer was, and impending to uh, compress the spinal cord there. In four intensive treatment he gave. That's all he prescribed. I took Jyoti to the center also in Tampa for that appointment, and I met that doctor, and he told what to do. And I was smiling at myself because of holiday time. They made a modification, and they gave 3 days in a row, then 2 day break, and they gave the fourth dose. All kinds of modifications of protocol is indeed done by these doctors, and the ultimate factor saving you or helping you is the so-called divine factor or a god factor or unknown factor. And the entire equation of my wife Jyoti being alive and well today is because of that factor and that factor alone. And nobody wants to acknowledge it and give any importance to that factor. And everybody is tapping his on her collar and congratulating each other that they have accomplished great things in this life. From that point on, I completely stopped finding out what is happening with my spouse Jyoti. I don't know. I am dictating this thing for my next episode, Jyoti Rao and breast cancer. I don't know where she is as we speak. I have a complete access of her medical records because I did that portal myself, and I have the login authority and look at every bit of the details of all the findings from that point until today. But I have not gone near that. I don't care at all because I have no role in modifying the treatment or influencing the doctor's opinion, and I don't want my opinion anyway sway the her current healthcare providers' interest or opinion, and also that is entirely between my spouse and her caregivers. And she also goes run around all over the world and seeing other swamis and other people. And what she does right now, as far as her cancer care is concerned, I do not know. Luckily for her, the initial treatment was only two kinds of medications. One is a anti-estrogen, which I used to prescribe widely. And then there is another. They added one more medicine to that. It's also not a chemotherapy, and she has tolerated these two treatments very well. And as we speak now, I was told by my son she does not have any detectable cancer anywhere in her body, which is the good news. Is it good news for me? Don't ask me. I don't know. But it's really good news for everybody. That's what you have to take it in this lesson of my own spouse and my own two kids and my own family. They are all doctors all over the world, and they do not know this much detail about my wife's cancer conditions, but it's not a secret, and everybody should share their knowledge with everybody. And if it helps the entire that process, if it helps somebody in a positive way, it's good. There is no other way I can express my sympathies to all those people suffering from cancer related and other stress related problem, and only with the openness and transparency and clear communication with one can progress further in this beautiful God created world. Let me stop it. It's already 49 minutes. I may add an addendum or a footnote later on, but this is enough about the story about my wife Jyoti Rao. Uh, I used to tease her and say Jyoti Rao Gadhad. Gadhad means my family name, and generally it's a custom to add a husband's name after marriage, but she did not want any names attached to her, and which was an ego issue to me with her when I first married her. Now I don't care. All these things are just personal superiority issues and male chauvinism, and so be it. Let me end it here. And all those philosophical things we will address another time.